Hello and welcome to the Spring 2022 President's Address. My name is Samantha Elizalde and I'm the 2021-2022 ASI Student Body President. I have been given the great opportunity to introduce President Nelson for today's event, but before I pass the mic, I'd like to share some thoughts reflecting on my current term as president. The past 2 years have presented challenges that no one saw coming and had impacted many people in many different ways. We have learned to be ready to adapt and shift at any moment while uncertainty lingered in the background. For students, this meant going through so much change while just also trying to be a college student. We grappled with what was thrown at us while still worrying about whether or not we were going to pass a class. Personally, it was difficult and challenging. The anxiety and isolation of this pandemic has taken a toll on myself and many others. I like to think that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. My light is graduating this spring and being the first in my family to obtain a college degree. I hope that you all, student or not, take some time to reflect on the good and the bad that these past 2 years have presented to you and run with it. Think of your light at the end of the tunnel and use that to push you forward. Thank you, and now presenting President Robert S. Nelson.
Please forgive me for beginning off script. Normally, Jody and I would have greeted you, shaking your hands, giving you hugs as you entered the ballroom. And here I am speaking to an empty ballroom. I miss you. But we will not let COVID-19 win. We will be back together again on February 7th. We are and will always be a Hornet family forever. Now to start. President Don Girth passed away in December, just as he was turning 93. He was the president of Sacramento State for 19 years, and he helped shape this great university. Could we please have a moment of silence for Don? Don loved Sacramento State. He loved the mission of the California university system. He was proud to call Sacramento State the capital's university, and he referred to us and to all of the CSU campuses as the People's University. Well, let's be honest. The people of California, the people of our nation, the people in our capital, and especially the people on our campus, have been going through hard times lately. COVID-19 has devastated us for over 2 years since its arrival in the U.S. on January 13th, 2020. We hurt, and we hardly recognize ourselves, let alone our colleagues. How many of you have never met your students? How many of you are working with people whom you have never met face to face? How many of you have never been on our campus, never seen our trees, our turkeys, our squirrels? In many ways, we are estranged. We feel alone. How can the People's University be the People's University if we don't know the people? COVID-19 has done much more damage than just estrange us. It has divided us. We have vaxxers and we have anti-vaxxers, terms that we rarely used before. We have mask wearers and the maskless. We attack flight attendants. We literally have become a house divided. We are a 50-50 nation, split on almost every issue, whether it is COVID-related or not. Look at the legislative branch at the Senate, split 50-50, where one person can decide whether we spend billions of dollars or not, whether we invest in the environment or coal. The House is no better, and it is likely to flip in the coming midterm elections. Factions, even within parties, rule rather than the rule of law or simple common sense. January 6th, 2021 will forever be a day of infamy. Even here in Sacramento, we are split about what to do with the homeless members of our community. We, as Californians, with our acronyms, have divided ourselves between NIMBYs and IMBYs. Not in my backyard and in my backyard. In the meantime, real sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, uncles and aunts, spouses and partners suffer. Suffer on our streets, in our parks, along the levees, and right next to our campus. How can we be the people's university if we don't care about the people? When I was planning this address, thinking through the message that I wanted to convey, what I thought we needed now, my immediate answer was that we have to be a yes university. We have to say yes to the people, to our community, to each other, especially to the people who are hurting or estranged. Since Jody and I arrived in Sacramento in 2015, 7 years ago, my dream has been to turn the university into a yes university. I was appalled to learn that we charged the players of the Pig Bowl, our firemen, sheriffs, and police, to park their cars when they were raising money for scholarships. I couldn't believe that we regularly turned down community groups who wanted to use our facilities instead of helping sponsor their events. I was amazed that we literally put thousands of holds on students who missed deadlines for filling out paperwork or paying fines or minor bills. I was shocked that we routinely told students who couldn't get a class they needed to graduate to take another class and add a minor. I couldn't believe the lines outside classrooms as students crashed the classes so that they could get a seat. I couldn't believe how many students made their way to the president's office because they were told no. And then there were the parents. Enough said. We've made tremendous progress since 2015, thanks to you. Thanks to everyone on this Zoom. Not only have we stopped sending out thousands of holds to our students, through HERF, the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, we paid off their holds and set the students free. Every member of the cabinet is on at least one community board, some on 4 or 5 boards. In 2020, the Greater Sacramento Economic Council GSAC, honored Sacramento State as the Partner of the Year. The players in the Pig Bowl have literally awarded thousands and thousands of dollars to our students in scholarships. The Sacramento Police Department is one of the largest donors to the ASI Food Pantry. Just 2 months ago, they donated so much food that Business Affairs had to send a forklift to unload the food. We've added $5.5 million to Academic Affairs' permanent budget to add new classes so that the students don't have to crash courses. We have added 105 tenure track faculty beyond replacing those faculty members who retired or left. We have increased our 4-year first-time graduation rate from 9% to 25.8%, and our 2-year transfer graduation rate from 27.1% to 44.6%, saving our students millions of dollars in potential debt. But that is not enough. Not in a region where only 33% of the population has a bachelor's degree, compared to a statewide average of 52% attainment rate. Not enough in a region where only 18% of the Latinx population has a bachelor's degree, and only 22% of the Black population and 22% of the Native American population have bachelor's degrees. Sadly, a mere 37% of the females in our region and a paltry 29% of the males have bachelor's degrees. Not good enough, indeed. Yes, we have to become a yes university. And our dedication to being an anchor university is helping us to do so. But just saying yes will not be enough to turn our region and our university around. Not in a COVID-19 era. Instead of just being a yes university, we must become a healing university. The lesson of COVID-19 is that we must heal and move forward. But we must do more than just heal from COVID-19. We must heal our region, our state, our country, our university, and most of all, ourselves and our students. COVID-19 has shown us the inequities in our society, the flaws in our educational system, the paucity of our knowledge, the weakness of our social support structures, and our own personal shortcomings. Please don't get me wrong. I'm incredibly proud of what Sac State has done throughout this pandemic. We pivoted and we taught online. We graduated 9,099 students last year at what may end up being my most memorable graduation ceremony in my 33 years in education. Commencement. Thank you for everyone who participated, for everyone who made it happen. But even more thanks, genuine thanks from my heart to yours, to everyone who taught a class online, everyone who came to campus to process financial aid, every campus safety officer and every police officer who kept campus safe, every custodian who every night cleaned and sanitized our buildings, every groundskeeper who kept blowing those leaves, which didn't stop dropping because of COVID-19, every member of university advancement who doubled the number of scholarships for our students, every technician who kept our labs operating, everyone in human resources and business affairs who had to come to campus to process our paychecks, every advisor who picked up the phone to keep our students on track, every nursing student and student health professional who got us vaccinated, everyone at Sac State who turned on their cameras and opened their hearts on Zoom. I can't wait to celebrate all of you this spring when the current Omicron spike recedes. Celebrate you with a whole series of events and with the recognition that you deserve. You are what makes the Hornet family strong. You are the ones who are truly responsible for graduating those 9,099 students, for transforming in 1 year alone 9,099 lives who will transform tens of thousands of lives over time. Our work, however, is not done. And it won't be done when we beat Omicron and move from a pandemic to an endemic. Our 50-50 culture must be healed. Sacramento State must be transformed into a transformative healing agent. We must realize that we are healers, whether we are keeping the university clean, safe, and beautiful so that the healing can take place, raising funds for our students so that they can make ends meet and graduate in 4 years, helping to hire the new faculty, especially the faculty who look like our students, whom we so desperately need, redesigning courses where our underrepresented and our Pell-eligible students have historically failed or withdrawn, implementing our anti-racism and inclusive campus plan, or truly making Sac State into the capital's anchor university, deeply rooted in our community, working reciprocally with the community to transform lives. But first, let's be honest. We have to heal from COVID-19 and all of its variants. Let's address, so to speak, the elephant in the Zoom and what we all must do together, not as a 50-50 culture, but together as a Hornet family to return to campus wisely and safely. You have read countless emails from me over the past 2 years about COVID-19, and you've deleted just as many, often because the information in the emails had quickly been superseded by new information. No masks, masks. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, and now pills. 3 feet, 6 feet, no feet, 6 feet. SARS-CoV-2, Delta, Omicron. Whiplash after whiplash, but also evolving science. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. But I am thankful for Joy Stewart James and her colleagues at the Health Center, who helped set up the vaccination clinic and who have been running the testing center. I am also very grateful to Dr. Olivia Kasiri from the County Health Department, who has worked incredibly closely with us as we established our guidelines for at first depopulating the university and now to repopulating our campus. And I'm especially grateful to the University of California epidemiologists who have every time correctly told us what to expect of the virus and when to expect it to peak and subside. We are using their guidance even now as we prepare to return to face-to-face learning February 7th. All these individuals, and I agree with them, are confident that although COVID-19 is still here, we are moving out of the pandemic phase and into the endemic phase, just like we experienced in 1918 with the influenza pandemic. Sadly, people still die from the flu. But the flu is manageable, especially for those who get what we now simply call flu shots. People will still die from COVID-19 in the foreseeable future. But the vaccines, particularly as they mature and are further developed, will allow us to return to some sense of normalcy where we can interact, go about our businesses and our lives, educate our youth, and heal our nation. We can speed up this healing through vaccinations and testing, masks, social distancing, self-isolation, temporarily suspending face-to-face board meetings, requiring proof of vaccination at mega events. All of that will help. But the bottom line, the experts, the scientists tell us is that we need to get as many people vaccinated as possible and with boosters when sufficient time has passed. Sacramento itself may be 50-50, 60-40, or even 7-30, but Sacramento State must be as close to 100% as possible. And we are almost there. At the writing of this address, 92.93% of our faculty, staff, and administrators, and 89.54% of our students were vaccinated with 2 shots of either the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccines, or 1 shot of the J&J vaccine. 0.24% of our faculty, staff, and administrators have medical exemptions, and 2.65% have declared religious exemptions. Amongst the students, 0.46% have medical exemptions, and 4.59% have declared religious exemptions. More and more students and faculty are accessing campus, and more students are enrolling. So we expect these numbers to vacillate. in the percentages, but the numbers will stabilize once the semester starts, because no one will be allowed to access campus unless they're vaccinated or have an exemption. To make sure that the vaccination numbers are accurate for our students, we receive a daily upload from the California State Immunization Registry's database. And as an added precaution, under the new vaccination policy, we're requiring booster shots within 5 months for anyone who has received 2 doses of either the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccine, and within 2 months for anyone who has received 1 shot of the J&J vaccine. Testing twice weekly, those who have exemptions, will further ensure the safety of everyone returning to campus. And testing everyone who is symptomatic and self-isolating anyone who tests positive will even further help protect us and help heal each other and to heal our campus. Of course, there will be breakthrough cases. We know that. COVID-19 is not going away, at least not anytime soon. But neither is higher education or the People's University.
We are here to stay. We are here to heal.
As the Capital's University, as the People's University, our mission is to transform lives by preparing students for leadership, service, and success. And our students' mission is to join with us to heal this divided nation, to honor and sustain democracy, and to prepare the next generation of servant leaders. On January 6th, 1 year after the insurrection and the demolition of our Capitol in Washington, D.C., the New Yorker magazine asked, "Is civil war ahead?" The answer is no.
No, because of education. Because
Sac State will help to heal our nation and to preserve our democracy. And in spite of COVID-19, we will do it. One new student, one recovered student who dropped out, one community member, one community project in Del Paso Heights, one class project on the American River, one resigned course, one new hire, one or maybe more changes in our tenure and promotion policies, one more renovated art lab, one larger MLK Center, one newly constructed Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Center, one more supplemental instruction session, one more Project Rebound student, one more class at Folsom Prison, one more nursing simulation, one more homeless intervention, one more truckload of food for the food pantry, one more Sacramento Black Art of Dance recital, one more DACA student graduating, one more football championship. How about them Hornets?
talk about bringing the community together.
Talk about healing. We are destined to succeed, one more student at a time. Education is the great equalizer. It is also the platform for change. If we are to be a healing university, if we truly want to heal the 50-50 culture in our nation, we must graduate our students, providing them with an excellent education, fulfilling the promise of education itself. Hence, for the most recent 6 years, we have focused on the graduation initiative, on increasing our 4-year first year and our 2-year transfer graduation rates. I've already mentioned how well we have done, but to put the increase in perspective, our increase from 9 to 25.8% for the first-time full-time freshmen is a 187.8% improvement. 50 percentage points higher than any of the other 23 CSU campuses. 50%. These numbers are not just phenomenal numbers. These numbers are real students. Real students who, each and every one of you, including the people in facilities, student affairs, human resources, University Enterprise Incorporated, the Children's Care Center, athletics, the Well, financial aid, the Multicultural Center, the Pride Center, University Communications, the Community Engagement Center, the Anchor University Advisory Council, all the affinity groups and the action planning groups who helped produce the anti-racism and inclusive campus plan, and all of you on this Zoom have made the miracle on J Street happen, have unleashed the power of education to heal. Our governor and our state's legislature know that education, in particular higher education, is critical not only to our economy, but also to the welfare of our state. Hence, the governor is committed to increasing the CSU system's budget by 5% each of the next 5 years. 5% for 5 years. $211.1 million next year alone. Unprecedented. And the state has also promised to fully fund 600 additional full-time equivalent students next year at Sac State. Yes, fully fund. How will we ensure that these new students and all of our students will be prepared to transform our region, state, and nation? Not simply by broad initiatives, but by targeted initiatives to targeted populations, to real individuals. To continue the metaphor, we have to treat one student at a time. There is no elixir that we can secretly put into the water. Each person must receive his, her, or their own personal prescription. And with whom do we start? Just as we started with COVID-19 and the vaccinations, and with the vaccinations for polio so many years ago. We need to start with those individuals who are most at risk. As such, we need to rethink and refine our Finish in 4 and our Through in 2 programs. Instead of broadly focusing on everyone, we need to focus our energy and our resources on our underrepresented students, our Pell-eligible students, our first-generation students, on our students who stopped out because of COVID-19, because of finances, because of administrative barriers, on our students who are close to graduating but have lost track and are spinning their wheels, who need a boost. If education is to truly be the great equalizer, we must implement specific, targeted initiatives to close our equity gaps, especially our underrepresented minority equity gaps. We must focus on those who have not had the opportunities that others have, those slowed and too often held back because of opportunity gaps. Now is the time to reinvent the graduation initiative, to make it more targeted, and to support it through our Anchor University work, our anti-racism and inclusive campus plan, and our hiring practices. As I stated earlier, we have made progress, but the opportunity gaps are real. The CSU system chooses to measure opportunity gaps in 6-year segments using 6-year graduation rates. According to the 6-year metric, our opportunity gap is 4.1% for our 2015-2021 cohort of underrepresented minority students. The gap is even larger for our Pell-eligible students, 4.8 percentage points, which demonstrates the horrific damages that economic inequity wreaks. Not everyone will be able to graduate in 6 years, let alone 4 years. Some may take and need 8 or even more years. We must honor and respect everyone's personal experiences. But if we really want to heal the economic inequity gap in our region, then the sooner that we graduate students, the sooner they will be able to access permanent, higher paying employment. At Sacramento State, for the sake of our students, to keep them from going into debt, we will and must continue to focus on the 4-year graduation rate and on the 2-year transfer graduation rates. And we will do so by tracking our success rates by ethnicity and Pell eligibility. Overall, the CSU system has given us the goal of a 4-year graduation rate of 30% by 2025. We will realistically surpass that goal well before 2025, and we hope to reach 40% first-year, 4-year graduation rate by then, which will match the overall system's goal. Since 2016, the 4-year graduation rate for our African American students has risen from 4.3% to 19.8%. During the same time period, our 4-year graduation rate for our Asian American Pacific Islander students has risen from 5.5% to 24.4%. For our Latinx students, we've seen an increase from 8.6% to 25.1%. And our Pell-eligible students, their graduation rate has climbed from 5.5% to 23.2%. Unfortunately, our Native American students' four-year graduation rate has fallen from 12.5% to 11.1%. We have work here to do, but we have work to do everywhere if we are really going to close the opportunity gaps. I could easily brag about Sacramento State and what it has already done to surpass by 5.5% the 2025 goal that the system set for us for our two-year transfer graduation rates. Yes, the system set a goal at 38%, and we are currently at 43.5%. But bragging won't get us anywhere. The opportunity gaps for each of the identified underrepresented and Pell-eligible students still exist. To remind us, these numbers, these gaps, signify real people, real students, and we want to do better. So, for the next year, in accordance with the new 2025 graduation initiative, we will be dedicating $1,065,000 to 5 specific targeted initiatives. 1, re-engage and re-enroll underserved students. 2, expand credit opportunities for summer and intersession. 3, ensure equitable access to digital degree roadmaps. 4, eliminate administrative barriers to graduation. And 5, promote equitable learning practices and reduce DFW rates. Yes, to heal our region as a healing university, we're going to reach out and re-enroll those students who stopped out because of COVID-19, because of the economic inequities that exist, or for whatever reason. Just from the 2019 cohort alone, we will be reaching out to 655 students who are no longer enrolled at Sac State. We will also be increasing the number of credits that our underrepresented students earn in their first 2 years and beyond by increasing the number of courses available in the summer and during intersessions, and by providing grants and scholarships to lower the cost of those courses. We want every student to have the opportunity to earn 60 credit hours in the first 2 years that they are enrolled at Sac State. I'm saddened to report that in the most recent 2 years, the latest cohort of 1,477 of our underrepresented students only earned 52.8 credit hours. As a consequence, by the end of 2 years, they're already more than 2 courses behind where they should be if they want to graduate in 4 years. We cannot let them fall behind. We cannot allow them to incur more debt. To make sure that all students stay on track, we will institute block scheduling for all first-year students and sophomores, expanding our Hornet Launch program to 2 years instead of just the first year. But before we can build the block schedules and load them into the Civitas degree program planner, we will have to build degree roadmaps for all degree plans, and we will have to complete transcript audits before students enroll, a goal that we are committed to achieve, that our students deserve. The expansion of the Hornet Launch is undoubtedly the biggest lift for all of us in this new, revised 2025 graduation initiative. But I believe that fully implementing Hornet Launch is absolutely critical if we're going to close the opportunity gaps. I am pleased to report that we have already begun to remove administrative barriers to graduation, but we need to go further. We will reassess our graduation filing process. We will reassess our drop for non-payment policy. We will reassess the consequences of existing registration hold categories. We don't want any student to be slowed from graduating on time because of bureaucratic red tape. Finally, each year, beginning now, we're going to identify the top 10 drop, fail, and withdrawal DFW courses with the largest equity gaps, and we will work to improve those courses. The Provost's office recently announced a call to redesign high DFW courses, and we will be using additional dollars beyond the $1,065,000 to further this work and to reward the faculty for their time and their efforts. In the meantime, we will transparently track the progress, encouraging embedded tutoring and supplemental instruction. These targeted initiatives are intentionally intrusive and, I hope, surgical. If we don't heal our processes, if we don't heal our classes, how will we heal our society? We are at a pivotal time, not only for the history of education, but also for the history of our nation. I'm often asked if education will ever be the same after COVID-19. When most people ask that question, I think they are often thinking about online instruction. Yes, there will be more classes online. Yes, faculty and students will use technology differently. Yes, there will be more employees working from home. But education will always be changing and should always change. I won't bore you with the details, but Socrates taught in one way, and his student Aristotle taught in an entirely different way. What is needed in education today is not what was needed in the industrial age or even in the dot-com era. Never in my lifetime has education needed to concentrate so much on healing. Never have we needed to heal so much, even compared with the Vietnam era or the beginning of the civil rights. Never have we needed more of education. George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Stephon Clark, so many names. I want to say them all, but I can't. There are too many. We need to remember that we are one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And it is education that has the power to heal us, to make us indivisible, to provide liberty and justice for all. We cannot let racism divide us. We cannot just show up at 6000 J Street every day and then go home. We must go beyond 6000 J Street. We must eradicate racism on our campus and in our community. We must be an anti-racist anchor university, a healing university. We must be there for our students and our community. As such, we are embarking on creating a strategic plan that will have goals and metrics that ensure that we provide our students with an excellent education, that we truly do transform lives, and that we transform our community and our region. A strategic plan that unites us. The Strategic Planning Steering Committee has been hard at work creating a framework for the strategic plan. And now, I am asking that each of you who are listening to this address, each of you who will read this address, each and every Sacramento State partner, join them and be actively involved in creating the plan. I'm thrilled to announce that Robin Carter will be returning to help us lead as we develop the plan and as we celebrate our 75th year of existence. I know that it's hard to believe, but Sacramento State is 75 years old. And celebrate we must. The celebration must look back. It must acknowledge those individuals who got us where we are, the faculty senate leaders, outstanding award-winning professors, student government leaders, even some administrators like Guy West, Don Girth, Alexander Gonzalez. But mainly, the celebration and the strategic plan must look forward, must pave a pathway forward. The 5 initiatives that we have guided us over these last 6 years, Student Success and Graduation Initiative, Diversity and Inclusive Excellence, Community Engagement and the Anchor University Initiative, Philanthropy and On the Rise campaign, Safety and Health. These imperatives will be embedded in the plan. But with the strategic plan, we will finally have the opportunity to define and shape measurable outcomes as we've done for closing the equity and opportunity gaps. More importantly, we'll have the opportunity to develop action items, specific initiatives to achieve those outcomes. Many of those initiatives will come directly from the Anchor University Task Force report and the work that the Anchor University Advisory Council has been doing, and from the Anti-Racism Inclusive Campus Plan and the work that Inclusive Excellence, the employee affinity groups, and each of the divisions and colleges have been doing. With the creation of the strategic plan, we will begin the implementation of the recommendations of the action planning groups and the Anchor University Advisory Council. But of course, the plan itself must extend beyond anti-racism and Anchor University work. The plan must cover student readiness, graduate education, international education, sustainability, and wellness. It must cover the Innovation Hub and the California Mobility Center on the Ramona property. It must cover the Placer Center expansion in Placer County and our joint partnership with Sierra College. It must also cover athletics, which serves as the front porch for so many of our returning alumni and so many of our students. And it must finalize how we leave behind our identity as a commuter campus and integrate ourselves into the university village that is being built around us. Strategic plans are rarely sexy. And with COVID-19 interrupting our work, we've waited an extra year to write our new strategic plan. People are tired of waiting. And we will not wait to implement the critical recommendations from the Anti-Racist and Inclusive Campus Plan or the Anchor University Task Force report. I fully understand the concrete, very visceral desire to finish the work that we are doing, to become an anti-racist campus, to become fully engaged in our community as a truly Anchor University. After all, Sacramento is on the rise, and we want to continue rising through philanthropy, through student success, and especially through healing. People rightly ask me every day, how and when will we implement the anti-racism and inclusive excellence campus plan? Inclusive Excellence and the action planning groups produced a 200-page framework for significant change at our university, for necessary systemic change, for transformation of our university, and thereby the transformation of our students, so that through leadership they can transform our community, our region, and our nation, as well as the experiences that their partners, children, and friends will experience. We will need a multi-year roadmap that a strategic plan will give us. But we need to enact change, make real change now. We cannot abandon the tremendous work that so many have done. Hence, on February 14th, we will convene a university-wide convocation appropriately named A Call to Action, Eradicate, Resolve, and Liberate. At the convocation, we will lay the foundation for our transformation by acknowledging the hard truths of the impacts of racism and exclusion on communities of color and those who have been marginalized. We'll hear from a panel of past, present, and future champions for anti-racism and for an inclusive campus. Those who have participated in the development of the Anti-Racism and Inclusive Campus Plan, and those who will make it a reality. And we will hear from them about their experiences writing the plan and their experiences on campus and elsewhere. We will also hear from a keynote speaker, Dr. Bettina Love, about how we can commit ourselves to an abolitionist goal of educational freedom as opposed to reform, and to moving beyond educational survival complexes. In our breakout section, we'll examine how it looks like to operate from a liberated place in every aspect of our institution. We will learn what the implementation will look like during and after the convocation, and how each of us can get involved in transforming the campus. The convocation is an important step forward towards realizing our dreams of being a caring campus, a university built around mattering, an anti-racist university. Even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the cabinet, the divisions, many departments have committed themselves to long-term cultural change by developing unit-specific diversity and inclusion statements, by creating guidelines on how to create and maintain anti-racist practices and policies, by examining current policies for biases and discrimination, and by evaluating our hiring and performance review practices for adherence to principles of diversity, inclusion, and equity. The Provost is working with the Faculty Senate, the University Appointment, Retention, Tenure, and Promotion Committee, and the Office of Faculty Affairs on integrating anti-racism and anchor work into the standards of promotion and tenure. Human Resources and Academic Affairs are developing policies and procedures and guidelines for exit and entrance interviews. We are refining our annual reviews, especially of administrators, so that the reviews hold the reviewees accountable for proactively pursuing and upholding diversity, equity, and inclusion objectives. And this coming year, we will engage the university in an equity survey, not just of salaries, but of the workplace itself. We've already begun an analysis of our hiring and separation data, and the Office of Faculty Affairs presented the Cabinet a report on the hiring and separation trends for faculty from 2015 to the present that we'll be sharing more broadly in the coming semester. Overall, we hired 277 faculty to bring us to a total of 716 faculty. However, from fall 2016 to fall 2021, 140 faculty separated from the university, 48 of whom resigned, 84 of whom retired, and some of whom died. The total net gain is, as I mentioned, 105 new non-replacement tenure track faculty. I'm very pleased that we have more faculty, even though we all know that we don't have enough faculty. Where I'm not satisfied is how far we are from our faculty reflecting our student body or our Sacramento community. And I am saddened that so many faculty have separated, just as I am deeply troubled that so many Black administrators left the university last year. We have to address the separation issue, and we will. That's why we're putting so much effort into creating a robust exit interview strategy. Obviously, the Anti-Racism and Inclusive Campus Plan covers much more than just the diversity of our faculty and our students. But without addressing the diversity of our faculty and administration, both the Anti-Racism and Inclusive Campus Plan and the Anchor University Initiative will fail. And we will not heal our university, let alone our nation. We must face the problems now, even before we have a finalized strategic plan. The numbers tell a story that we must change if we are to be a healing university. 69% of our faculty are white. 26% of our students are white. 7% of our faculty are Latinx. 34% of our students are Latinx. 5% of our faculty are Black. 6% of our students are Black. 14% of our faculty are Asian American and Pacific Islander. 20% of our students are Asian American and Pacific Islander. The data is raw and it is inaccurate because an increasing number of faculty and students are choosing not to declare ethnicity. But when your institution has only 8 faculty members who declare themselves to be Native American out of a total of 716 tenure track faculty, you can clearly see that you have a problem that the anti-racism and inclusive campus plan sees, and a problem that our students see. Building a Native American Student Center will help, but it is not a solution. We must change our hiring practices. We must change our promotion and tenure policies. We must build a stronger mentoring system. We must collectively implement the anti-racism and inclusive campus plan. We must reward the work being done to ensure that we are the people's university, that we are the capital's anchor university. We're talking here about ending systemic racism. If we are to heal the university, if we are to heal our nation, we must heal the system. We must come together as a Hornet family, not just a Hornet community. And we must truly live up to our hashtag, making it happen at Sac State. Money will help. The 5% increase from the governor will help. We'll dedicate it to student success, to access and equity. The $224,929,071. Yeah, $224 million, 929,000. That the University Advancement Team has raised as part of the On the Rise campaign will also help as we double the scholarships and hire more endowed chairs. This spring, we will shatter the $225 million goal that we set 5 years ago, because shattered goals is what we do at Sac State, whether they are fundraising goals or graduation initiative goals. But the answer will not be money. The answer lies in culture, in our Hornet family culture. We are a student-centered university, a university that loves our students.
We exist to serve our students.
But even when we learn to live with COVID-19, even when we achieve the 40% first-time four-year graduation rates, even when our faculty look more like our student body, even then our work will not be done. There will always be more students, and Sac State will always be here for them, here to serve our democracy, here to heal our country until it needs healing no more. Now, more than ever, we need to believe in each other. We need to listen to what our fellow Hornets have said in the Anchor University Task Force report and in the Anti-Racism and Inclusive Campus Plan. We need to listen to what all of you will say in our strategic planning process. We need to be open and accepting of change. We can still disagree. Families disagree. But let's not be a nation divided.
50-50 does not work. Honest dialogue, Hornet pride, Hornet hearts, that's what works. Let's lead with our hearts. Let's heal. And COVID-19 be damned. We are the capital's anchor university, the people's university, and we can be what we most now need to be, a healing university. Sac State is #1. Stingers up! Thank you.